guys, and welcome to a new video on Sono's life. Right, you're very lucky because I've worked this out. You will be having a space of 4 videos in 2 weeks. Don't expect that to carry on, but as you can tell from the title and obviously yesterday's video, we have completed the 2 big Dontaku shows, and holy shit. So obviously, the only match I will not be speaking about is the steel cage match, the dog pound match that was between Bullet Club's War Dogs and obviously former Bullet Club House of Torture, because if you want, you can go back and watch yesterday's video because I looked more at that in detail, but also the implications of what is happening with Bullet Club going forward. So yeah, just because we have so many matches to get through. So I guess let's start going. Let's look at all the matches, what is happening going forward. Because you know what, it might have ended, but we've still got so much coming up. So like I said, I'm going to quickly go through all the matches, and we started on the May the 3rd show. Now, like always, we started with our kickoff show, which was Katsuya Murashima. He beat Daiki Nagai. Now obviously this is the longevity of this rivalry between them. I genuinely think that especially Murashima, maybe Nagai soon, will be ready for Excursion. Where he goes, I think something similar to what Tsuji did or what Fujita did would be very good. So either coming to the UK and Mexico, so doing 2 different parts to an Excursion, or as Fujita did where he was less rigid with it and he just went along with the members of TMDK. That would obviously mean that a faction would have to adopt him, but someone would be there to do that. We then had the 8-man tag match. Now this was the members of Hontai, so Master Wato, Yo, Bolton Oleg, Toru Yano facing Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, Hartley Jackson, Oiwa. Obviously this happened at New Japan Hizen, and this was a match. Obviously Yo and Master Wato beat Robbie Eagles and Kosei Fujita for the title. So this was sort of I guess, a follow-on from that, but also leading up to the Best of Super Junior, which is starting next week. And again, if you wait later on in the week, I'll have a preview for that. This was a very good match. Some really good interactions, but also not just the juniors, but with the heavyweights. In particular, we have constantly been seeing these matchups with Bolton Oleg and Hartley Jackson, which has been really awesome now. It was sad that Hartley got pinned, but we do love some big beefy men fighting each other, and it kind of makes me sad that they're using Hartley as this electrician who keeps getting pinned. But as long as I keep getting to see Hartley in the ring, it's always going to be a good one. We then had another, so again, like most New Japan shows, we had a range of tag matches before the main one. So the next one was just 32 guys. So it was Taka Michinoku, Taichi, Ishii and Uemura facing Los Ingobernables de Japón. Now this time it was Tetsuya Naito, Bushi, Hiromu and Tsuji. This was the penultimate match for Bushi and Naito, and you could hear the crowd's reactions when Naito came out. Interestingly, when you list off the name of legendary rivals that Naito has had, one person that will probably always get missed off, but has proven, especially in these last few weeks of Naito's run, has been Taichi. Him and Taichi, their careers have been intertwined. So if you didn't know, Taichi basically became heavyweight to face Naito. I think Naito was his first heavyweight opponent. And since then, while it's not been direct, they have wrestled in so many capacities. They bring out the best and worst in each other. And this match was also really great. What I love is that, it's weird because I know a lot of people, and I'll speak about this more when I speak about the next day, is that they were expecting huge song and dance for Naito and Bushi's last matches. But actually, by going against some of the people that they've known for so long and have been long-time rivals, actually is a very tranquilo way to go. And obviously, you can't not have Bushi get one more time being pinned. Because you know what? We'll miss him. We'll miss Bushi the electrician. But yeah, I actually thought, and you probably realise if you watched my LIJ Legacy video, make sure to watch that where I looked at the careers and what the future could be for both Naito and Bushi. I thought that this was their final show. I don't know why, but it wasn't. We were lucky we had one more. We then had another multi-man match. This time it was previewing the IWGP heavyweight match for the second night. So this saw Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and the newest member of Bishamon, Taguchi, facing the Empire. So we had Jacob Austin Young, Great Khan and Callum Newman. Callum has been thrusted into this opportunity. We all know that this was meant to go to Jeff Cobb, but Jeff suddenly left. So Callum stepped to it, and he has been showing up and showing off in these tag matches. They've also been showing, because we had all this drama with the Empire, which you all know about. They've also shown a real cohesion as a unit. Even that it was rivaling that of Bishamon with Taguchi. So this was a very good match. Yoshihashi pinned Jacob Austin Young. We then had the start of the title matches, special singles matches. So the first one we had was for the television championship, and this was for the 15 minutes with champion ELP facing Takeshita. Now I'm going to put this out there, and people on social media at wrestling_chat will have seen this. Rocky Romero recently betrayed Chaos, so betrayed Ishii, and then became a member of the Don Callis family. Fine, it was getting teased anyway with the whole beef between ELP and Rocky anyway. However, there was a moment in this match where Rocky did some interference. This was only once, but I just want to explain this and push this on New Japan. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see any of this New Japan Don Callis bullshit brought to it, okay? We have enough with House of Torture. We don't need interference, because Rocky has been the king of sneaky style for ages. He's been a heel, he's been a babyface. But he doesn't need to do this. And Takeshita particularly does not need someone to cheat for him. Because in the rest of the 14 minutes, 50 seconds, this was a phenomenal match. They obviously have their match at Resurgence for Takeshita's Never title. But this was great. And you know, it ended in a draw, which was perfect. Because neither man looked weak. ELP got to retain the title, which is good because we need some more consistency, considering he beat Okan after the first one. But again, it doesn't make Takeshita look bad because he didn't get pinned. Because if you think about it, 15 minutes is a very short time, especially for guys as athletic as ELP and Takeshita. So yeah, their chemistry is phenomenal. We've seen it in the past, and we're going to see it again at Resurgence. It was so fast, so electric. Do you know what I mean? Like, Takeshita was still being a heel. But even without Rocky, he could emanate that heelish behaviour while still being one of the best wrestlers in the world. So it was good. I'm very much looking forward to Resurgence. We then had, it was the next stage of Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement match. And he was facing the man he has beaten 7 times. Who he has wrestled 14 times, 13 times. Zack Sabre Jr. Now their bond goes back years. And they actually, it's like a love-hate relationship. Zack always claims that he's going to be the one to retire Tanahashi. He's going to break his limbs and stuff. And actually, Tanahashi made the retirement on his own like decision. And we spent years, and I keep bringing this about every Tanahashi retirement match. Tanahashi had years where we were complaining his knees are gone, he can't do anything. But he is bringing it out for every one of these matches. And this match with Zack was no different. He had a new sense of life. He was doing some of the old classics. He was working effortlessly with Zack with the counters and everything to show, you know what, these two have wrestled so many times and know each other inside and out. And more specifically, which seems to be the thing, is he's creating this narrative of like, oh my god, this is my final match with this person, most likely. I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. He didn't care what was wrong with his knees or his body. He was doing high fly flows, dragon screws, twist and shout. Even Zack was doing some of the moves. Unsurprisingly, in the end, Zack got the win, and he showed a sign of respect and holding Tanahashi's hand. This is like the same with Takeshita. Every time a wrestler does this, I feel like, oh my god, this is trying to like cement that this is the end of road. Because you know Zack, he's a great guy, but he's very cocky, he's very snarky, he's very British. So for him to show that respect to Tanahashi was very touching. We then had the final special singles match of the night, and it was Shingo Takagi versus Shota Umino. Now, again, there were critics of Shota Umino, but if anyone's criticising this match, I want you to personally tell me why, because this might have been Shota's best match. The lead up to these matches, so the Road 2 shows, there was so much animosity. Shingo had lost really all the control that he's known for, and was throwing chairs, throwing tantrums. And Shota had a very similar, like, fire within him. And this was carried on into this match. They're both very similar in terms of their big guys and quite athletic. And with this, they were doing reversals. They were hitting each other with everything. They were going to the outside. You could see this passion and fire within them because they both had something to prove. Shota has been on this very rocky journey, as commentary pointed out. It's like one step forward, 2 steps back. Similarly with Shingo, he's not had the best. When was the last time he held the title? It's been years since he's been in the IWGP heavyweight title contention, and everything's going on with LIJ. So it was very, very important for both of them, and you could feel it in them. The crowds were shouting Shota, Shingo. They created such an amazing narrative with nothing on the line. This was for pride. This was to show the crowds who was the better person. And in the end, Shingo got the win. Now, is this the right thing to do? Personally, I think yes. Commentary pointed out that actually since after Shota returned from excursion, he has had Shingo's number. So we needed Shingo to win. Obviously, I think it led also to what happened on the second night. And I think we're just going to see Shota continue to grow. People are still going to complain, but personally, I think Shota is doing great. And this match was truly phenomenal. And of course, we ended the night with the amazing dog pound steel cage match. Like I said, make sure to watch my other video for a full cover of it. But it obviously meant that War Dogs won. And they are now the Bullet Club. We then got up to the next show, and actually, and I'm going to have to do this because obviously there's a lot of names I'm unaware of. The first thing that I noticed from this show was there was a lot of people from outside promotions. So in the first match, we had Murashima and Taguchi facing Hitomura Sasaki and Jet Way. The second match, we had Batum Barabura and Mentai Kid facing Gedo and Taiji Ishimori. With that, you've got people from different promotions, mix it in with the New Japan guys. These matches were actually really fun. Like, especially the Gedo and Ishimori and Batum Barabara and Mentai Kid. Someone joked that the Ishimori probably thought he was still, like, concussed or, like, full of blood from the match before because of what was going on, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. We then had Master Wato and Yoshihashi facing Jacob Austin Young and Great Khan. Again, this is just like a bit of a link of like the Empire and... Well, actually, think about it, there's no actual links to this. You know what, I'll get back to this. It was a great match. I enjoyed it. Yoshihashi and Master Wato won, with Wato pinning Jacob Austin Young. Wato obviously has the best of Super Junior coming up, so that will be exciting. Like I mentioned before, this was a show full of surprises, and we had a full Stardom exhibition match. So we had Koguma, Hazuki, and Maika facing Yuna Mizumori, Azumi, and Starlight Kid. First thing, and you can probably go back and watch every review I've ever done that has a Stardom match in it. New Japan, pick up your costume game. I'm a huge fashion fan. I remember I used to design costumes, like imagining I was going to be a wrestler. But these outfits are so beautiful, so eye-catching, so cohesive, that actually they make the women in the ring look like even more amazing. It perfectly matches with their amazing in-ring style. Commentary did really well. So obviously, if you don't know, Walker is doing these Stardom shows, so he has that knowledge as well, and he's bringing it to allow New Japan fans like me who don't get to see Stardom often to understand what is going on. The women of Stardom are so fast. I brought up, they are so athletic that they give the junior heavyweights in our company a run for the money. And I think, and it's quite funny, I saw these tweets of people saying that they'd seen wrestling fans saying that they wish that there was an all-women's promotion for wrestling. Go and watch Stardom. They are really going through a huge boom at the moment. They're suffering, I mean, similar to New Japan, where they've got some big names leaving or they're going on injury. But I think they're another company that is definitely worth a watch. So yeah, this was a great match. Hazuki pinned Yuna, but yeah, it was a great showcase on a very big stage in New Japan. We then had a match following on from the television championship, so it was Bolton Oleg and ELP facing Rocky Romero and Takeshita, again ahead of their resurgence. It was a fine match. It was really nice to see Takeshita and ELP in the ring again with each other. Particularly, I liked seeing Oleg and Takeshita wrap it up. I can't remember, they might have been in the same block last year for the G1. But it's always great to see two big beefy men lock up. Bolton Oleg unsurprisingly got the win over Rocky Romero, but remember, this is all leading up to Friday night show, Saturday morning here in the UK. And I'm just very excited to see ELP and Takeshita lock up again. We then had a 10-man match, so we saw the members of TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, Oyu and Zack Sabre Jr. facing an unexpected team. We had Hiroshi Tanahashi, Toriano and Yo, but teaming with Chikuzen Yota, very big, very huge trainer, very accomplished wrestler himself, with the legend that is Tajiri. Yes, in 2025, I was watching a New Japan show with Tajiri. That blew my mind, but what blew my mind was his skills in the ring. He started off the match with Zack Sabre Jr., and this was a catch submission masterclass. I joked on social media that Tajiri is what Zack is going to be in 20 years. Still smooth and effortless with his transitions and his holds, but Tajiri throughout this entire lockup had such a calm and deadpan face, like he was full of zen and he was meditating. And I just love the idea that sometime in the future there's going to be Zack causing so much pain to literally everyone in the ring, but he's just going to be so chilled. Obviously with the Tajiri match there was the green mist, which allowed Hiroshi Tanahashi to get the win, which is always very exciting because he's not been getting many recently. But yeah, it was really nice. At the end, Tajiri wrapped his legs around Tanahashi. A lot of us wanted to do that, so that's relatable. We then got up to the sadness. The most emotional moment for all of us, it was Tetsuya Naito and BUSHI's final match. They were facing, similarly, Taka Michinoku, Taichi, Ishii, and Shota Umino. When they came out, the chants of BUSHI could be heard. When Naito came out, the cheers were deafening, and you could see he's waited there for a little while. He was stood there just taking everything in. I swear BUSHI was crying at some point. The chants were unreal. The match itself was fine. It was a good tag match. We saw a really nice interaction between Shota and Shingo again. But it was the small things that Bushi and Naito were doing. Naito gave us the most beautiful Destino. He's not been hitting them very well in the recent years, but it was honestly really emotional for me, and emotional for everyone watching, whether you're a Japanese fan, a Gaikoku Jin fan, whether you've been watching since Naito debuted, since 2018 like me, or just last year. Naito and Bushi are such huge parts of LIJ, and as Shingo got the win, so he got the pin, which is quite funny because he messaged later on Twitter, I don't think I read the room and the atmosphere properly, sort of hinting that maybe he should have let Bushi or Naito get the win. But that was the end, and they had a final LIJ pose and photo in the ring. Don't worry, that wasn't the last we saw of them. But yeah, you can watch my video about the legacy of Naito and Bushi to get my real emotions, but it just feels kind of surreal. I don't know, just everything going on makes it feel like it's not the end. And it'd be really funny if they're booked for the Dominion show, or Naito's booked for the G1. Obviously we know Bushi is not going to be in the Best of Super Junior. But I think it was a fitting way. They literally just walked off and they did a one last look at the crowd and they were bye. That is such a Naito thing to do. It's such a tranquilo thing to do. So yeah, again, like I said, it's not the last time, but yeah. We then had the IWGP Global title match, and this was between Uemura and Tsuji. These two have amazing chemistry. They're the sun, they're the moon. That's how they've been poached. Both the Light and New Japan, and this match, they've had plenty of matches in the past, whether they were Young Lions or whether, since they came back from Excursion. But for me, this was, the most poignant. So going into this match, obviously, it was the first since Uemura had come back from his injury. That was happened during their match in the G1. And so this match, it felt like there was an added, aggression. At the start, they were, feeling each other out. It's been a while since they got into the ring together by themselves. So it was a bit slow paced. They were testing the waters. Going for, so for example, Tsuji was going for Uemura's right hand, which again, commentary was really interesting saying that. Tsuji had his excursion in Mexico as well, and normally wrestlers will try to focus on the left hand because it's a gentleman's agreement, but Tsuji wasn't doing that. Similarly, the leg was worked over in Evil's match against Tsuji, so Uemura was going after this. And actually after the speed picked up, it became very dangerous. So in the interview that Uemura did in New Japan, he explained that after the injury, he was struggling to go to the top rope because that is where the injury happened, after. And you could see that kept happening. Every time Uemura would go up to the top rope, he'd be very tentative, and that would either lead to not getting hit or a reversal from Tsuji. Similarly, you could see Tsuji trying everything to target, but also trying to protect his own leg, which Uemura found out that it was much easier to go after that to protect his arm than anything. Honestly, my heart was in my chest the entire time. I was if this match goes on any longer, I'd probably just have a heart attack because it was insane. as it picked up speed, there was reversals. I didn't know who was gonna win. In the end, Tsuji did pick up that final victory, and I think it's fine. It's really interesting. Like, obviously, Umura won the last one. This is on Tsuji. It was a very great match. Honestly, this is going to be a future Tokyo Dome main event, but for now, I'm happy to see it where it was. The members of LIJ came out again to do a final photo. Obviously, it was sad we were missing Titan, but one last fist bump. Tsuji was basically like, you know what? Although you might be leaving, we are going to be forever connected, forever ungovernable, and I love that. And then before we could celebrate, because obviously then Bushi and Naito just fucked off and was just like, bye. And Bushi showed his little mask which said adios. Gabe Kidd came out, and obviously they had their rivalry. They had a match that ended in like a time limit. So that will be done for Dominion. And I guess you're probably wondering why I'm speeding this up. Because we're on over 20 minutes and I've still got the main event to do. Main event was Hiroki Goto facing Callum Newman. Obviously, Callum was thrust into this after Jeff Cobb left. I was worried, right? Because Callum, when he first came, he had a lot of criticism. Oh, he's Will Ospreay. Look like he does this and this. Oh, he's being thrust into he's not ready. I'm very, very proud of Callum Newman. This is probably Callum's best match. And actually, controversially for me, Hiroki Goto's best defense. He's had some amazing defenses of this title, mainly against some of the older guys. But this showed that, you know what, Callum wasn't ready for the title, but he's ready to be the main event. Maybe in a few years he'll be ready for that IWGP Heavyweight title, because not only was he very good in the ring, like wrestling wise, so he's very strong. He's very fast. That's the thing. He is faster than most of the juniors, despite packing on a lot of size. He was also very good at the storytelling. So obviously he was injured. He got injured in World Tag League and he used that. There was one moment I got really worried where like he seemed in so much pain. He was like, no, we're not stopping this match. We're not stopping it. And Goto, you know what? Normally Goto is a star of these matches. But Goto, this shows how good he is. Goto allowed Callum to shine. He was hitting the Os Cutter. He was hitting moves. He hit a Rainmaker, which is again very poignant because I believe that Callum was the last person to get hit by the Rainmaker before Okada left. Goto hit the Rainmaker. Obviously, Okada is a former Chaos member. And it felt just like everything worked perfectly in that match. Obviously, Callum didn't win. But as he walked off out of the ring, he showed a sign of respect to Goto. Because he knows, and I know that we all know that, you know what, that a lot of fans were probably doubting whether Callum was ready. I saw it on social media. I saw that, oh, it's another guy they're pushing before he's ready. Callum wasn't ready to win the title, but Callum was ready to challenge for this belt. He stepped up to the challenge. He's been given these opportunities. Sometimes he's earned them. Sometimes it's just been unexpected. But he has taken every single one of them and used it to his advantage. I've said, I always say I'm proud of wrestlers, but actually I'm extremely proud of Callum. He's only 22 years old, and this match was phenomenal. And after the match, we've got some defences coming up. Resurgence is coming up on Friday, and then Dominion after the Best of Super Junior. So who would challenge Goto next? Who would come down to the ring but Zachary Sabre Jr., the man who was beaten by Goto for the title, and he basically said, I want a shot, I want to be your next challenger. But then what happened? Well, Mr. Shingo Takagi came down having an existential crisis because #relatable, he was like, unlike you, I have no wife, I have no kids, I have no family, I've got no faction. Basically, maybe inkling and sort of linking to what could be happening with the future of Los Ingobernables de Japón. So Goto has two handsome men fighting for his handsome belt and his handsome ass. So it does seem like Zack Sabre Jr. will face Hiroki Goto at Resurgence on Friday, and whoever wins that will face Shingo Takagi at Dominion, which is very exciting. So that was the perfect end to an emotional, phenomenal 2 days of New Japan Dontaku. New Japan are still, and I think even with Naito and Bushi leaving and things happening, are still extremely strong. The future of New Japan is showing that they are ready to take the charge, but you have the veterans like Goto, Zack, and Shingo proving that, you know what, their time is still now. They are not going to be pushed aside for any of the young guys just yet. Hopefully you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Let me know in the comments on social media. I always say at social media. On social media at wrestling_chat. Let me know your thoughts on the matches, what you think about, like, what was your favourite matches? What did you think of the big main events? What do you think about going forward? We have the Best of Super Junior coming on, and then the big, I guess the second biggest show of the year, Dominion. So we have got a busy few months coming up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.